Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Back to the Conjurer's Guild. If you look at my level, I am somewhat ahead of the curve. So, Fluid Aura, yeah, which everything's outdated compared to what I have. It's clear. It's good to see you again, Serenia. By the aura you exude, it's plain you have grown further as a conjurer. The time has come for you to acquaint yourself with the third element of our art. Water. For the first part of your lesson, you are to take this flask of pristine water and pour it at the foot of the hedge tree found near the hawthorn hut. The water's purity will draw forth the corrupted entity that is siphoning the tree's life force. Dispatch this being and speak with Brother Josen at the hawthorn hut. As you might expect, he's a conjurer with a fine ear for the murmurings of brooks and streams. Listen well to his advice if you would learn to master the element of water. A bit far out. Corrupted water. Well, you have clean water. Yeah, tainted water sprite, you lose. I don't have to sync my level, so you just lose. Josen. Greetings, Serenia. Brother Izumi informed me of your coming. I assume it was you who purified the befouled water at the hedge tree? It was. The joyous bubbling of the elementals was a pleasure to hear. On behalf of both of them and myself, I thank you. Now, without further ado, let us speak of that which Brother Izumi sent you here to learn. I trust you did not find it strange to be asked to tend to a tree when your lesson this day concerns the element of water. One need not have studied botany to realize that the forest requires more than rich soil to flourish. Water is essential for carrying the nutrients in the earth to the tree's roots all the way to the very tips of its leaves. This precious liquid is the lifeblood of a 12th wood. Without it, naught would grow. But should it rise in too great a volume and too swiftly, the nourishing flow will become a crashing wave that washes away all before it. It is important to realize that all of nature is in balance. As Conjurer derives its power from nature, we must take care not to use our art in a manner like to disrupt its state. Ever must be mindful of a ceaseless tug of war embodied in creation. This fruitful stalemate of the elements. Brother Josen, are you about? I'm here, sir. What has transpired? A herd of young antelope stacks has gone berserk. I don't know what got them so panicked, but there's no calming them now. The mad beasts gored the soldiers sent to shepherd them away from civilian settlements, leaving us with a pile of wounded over at Jocelyn's spire, and not enough hands to stanch the bleeding. We need a healer and fast. Curious, I sensed nothing amiss in the whispering of the elementals. What could have frightened these antelopes so? A Apologies, I shall revisit these musings anon. Let us make haste. If matters are as chaotic as you say, I fear the number of injured may be rising as we speak. I doubt that we two will suffice. We must divide our forces. Serenia travels straightway to Jocelyn's spire and tend to the wounded. I shall endeavor to rally further healers and follow after you, bearing what restorative unguents I can. Sir, you, sir, had still great faith and beseech the aid of brother Izumi. The other spire. In the building? Well, a Conjurer, say, praise Novika. You've come not a moment too soon. Sounds like it my wounded have been carried in. Pray offer them what aid you can. I need to target him. I can breathe again. Thank you. These folks are out of danger for the present, but I fear our reprieve shall be brief. The battle with the stags yet rages, and there are reports of yet more wounded. I bid you join the wood railers and help put an end to this. Sequin just off a road that leads to the northeast, and do not worry. My arch should be sufficient to prevent matters from worsening here. Now go. Sylphie? Tell brother Izumi if you want. I don't care. I'm not going to stand by and watch while people bleed to death. Yeah, I can understand that. And this will be instant, so I have actually... okay. Withdraw. Come. Guys. Conjurer, you're 8. This soldier needs all my attention. Please help the others, wood railers. Okay, you help him, I help them. Stand firm. Water sprites as well? Come on. You. On your guard. There's more of them. Miss? I'm fine. Don't mind me. Pray tell me that we are not too late. Sylphie, what have you done? I forbade you from using such methods. Guildmaster? I will not see you repeat your mother's mistakes. My mother never did anything wrong. That was the wrong thing to say. Serenia, may I ask that you follow her? Please? I fear my presence will only serve to provoke her further. She cannot have gone far in her weakened state. I don't understand. When I try to cast spells, nothing happens. When I reach for my power, there's just nothing there. Is this what the Guildmaster was trying to warn me about? He said I was repeating my mother's mistakes. The same thing happened to her. Losing her magic, I mean, and then she... Am I going to die? This can't be happening. I didn't think... Please. I need to be alone. Yeah. Remember how she can only use healing magic? I think it highly likely Sylphie is using her own life force to cast these kinds of spells, and it's taken a toll on her. Unlike normal conjurers who draw upon the sheer limitless power of the elementals. Maybe she will listen now. Serenia, you have returned at last. Were you able to speak with Sylphie? I see. I once taught you that conjurers harness the power of nature that we might bring about change. Earth, wind, water, healing. The principle is no different. For the art of mending, we draw on the boundless life force of nature and bestow it upon the wounded. Sylphie has never sought to borrow from that bounty. Her power to heal stems from her own life force. The vital energies of mortals are, however, finite, and now that it to which I feared most has come to pass. Her mother unwittingly took her own life through the continued use of her healing skills. And Sylphie's aptitude for the art is, if anything, even greater. Thus, it is not unexpected that she should reach the limits of her strength at a much earlier age. If we do not intervene, this terrible tragedy will be repeated. I, for one, could not bear to see the child suffer the same fate as her mother. I shall think on a solution to this dark dilemma. It may be that I will have need of your assistance in the near future. Do not doubt your abilities. You are a conjurer who has passed the trials of earth, wind, and water. You grow closer to nature with every passing day, and I sense within you the seeds of greatness. In your encounter with water, you learned its role as a bringer of life, but you also felt the implacable power of a surging wave as it swept you along in its path. Like earth and wind and nature at large, the element of water is possessed of more than one aspect. Having completed the third lesson, I am satisfied that you have mastered the fundamentals of conjuring. In recognition of his feat, the spell Fluid Aura is now yours to command. Yet this is but the beginning of your journey. Henceforth you must strive to attune yourself ever more closely to the elements and to nature. Unfortunately, Fluid Aura is, as it's right now, a pretty useless spell. Before patch 5.0, Fluid Aura actually could push back an enemy and bind them where you pushed them, but now it only binds, so... And since casting animations take time and the effect only goes after the animation, you often it is that the enemy is at your side before you have finished the animation, and then you have to run anyway. Oh well. Know that from a friend who plays White Mage. Greetings, Serenia. You radiate in the confidence of a conjurer who neglects not her studies of the elements. I confess I have no lesson for you to learn this day. Instead, I would ask that you aid me in the education of another. Yes, I speak of Sylphie. After no small amount of prompting, bordering on coercion, the child has finally promised to attempt to embrace the forces of nature. But I'm afraid the matter is not so easily resolved. Sylphie has never attempted to learn the basic offensive spells that you and most other conjurers mastered, before first venturing into the wild. As such, she is ill-equipped to undertake the trials which furnish you and your peers with an understanding of the elements. Put simply, she is no match for the tainted spirits of nature. But if a more capable conjurer were to accompany her and purify the corruption in her stead, it may yet serve to impress upon her the power of the forces at work. I bid you take her on a pilgrimage around the 12th Wood and give her the opportunity to witness these confrontations firsthand. Earth, wind, water. She must know them all. Show her the majesty and primal ferocity of nature. As it was with you, let the earth be her first lesson. Sylphie awaits you at Brentbunch Meadows. Pray forgive my presumption, but I thought it best to send her on ahead while her conviction remains strong. Once you've located the patch of corrupted soil at Brentbunch, draw forth the tainted sprite and let her witness the struggle that ensues. May the elementals aid you in this endeavor, Serenia. Oh, I wasn't sure you'd come. You are kind to help. I have done nothing but mock you. Well, if you're ready, the corrupted soul is just there. I promise I'll be paying attention. Huh? I wasn't scared, I was just a little startled, that's all. It was as if a mass of solid wrath had erupted from the ground. I've never felt anything like... I mean, never mind. We should head to Bannock next. Let's get this over with. Pretending nonchalance. Seems to be the place. I'll be watching, so do whatever it is you do. gods! The wind blew straight through me. It felt both gentle and sharp at the same time. I can't explain it. This is something you can conjure? Let's be on our way. The last one is at Lilystone. The tainted water is here. Show me how it's done then. The lake is so beautiful. I never noticed how clearly the sky is reflected in its surface. I never noticed. Let's head back. I'm ready to speak with the guildmaster now. Welcome back, my avid conjurers. How fared you in your encounter with the elements? Sylphie, what did you sense as Serenia cleansed the sources of her corruption? It's hard to explain. It was like voices crying out in joy. And I felt their happiness watch over me. The world seemed sharper, more alive. It was almost as if nature was speaking to me. But why, Brother Izumi? Why did Mother teach me to avoid this side of conjuring? What was she so afraid of? There are certain truths that hide behind the mask of our words, and there's much that your mother didn't tell you. But you needn't seek out all the answers at once, Sylphie. Even now, your mind founders amid a sudden inundation of awareness. The first time we connect with nature can be wonderful, but disorienting experience. I suggest you allow yourself some time to adjust to this new perspective. Yes, Guildmaster. Goodbye. You have my gratitude, Serena. Thanks to you, Sylphie has taken a most important step. You heard her mention voices crying out in joy, did you not? It appears the mother's gift has been passed on to the daughter. Such sensitivity is not something one can achieve through meditation and training, but a blessing that is only a few fortunate chosen receive. And as you have no doubt surmised, Sylphie's mother was one such person. The misunderstanding of a blessing, however, was what led her down to such a tragic path. We cannot allow Sylphie's astonishing talents to consume her in the same manner. But we mustn't get ahead of ourselves. The girl has barely awoken to her potential. And for that potential to be fully realized, your support is yet needed. I suppose she failed to mention that the promise of your involvement in her lesson was the reason for her change of heart. You underestimate the impression your quiet determination has made on young Sylphie. If modesty prevents you from acknowledging your own good deed, consider this task part of your training. For conjurers are healers of wounds, be they physical or otherwise. Walk with her on her journey, Serenia, and together explore the myriad mysteries of nature. Okay. And next time we continue right here. And help Sylphie realize her full potential, hopefully. And see what happens otherwise. Until then, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.